Angeles. Welcome to Good Morning La La Land. I'm Dr. Erin.
Hi, I'm Rob Mack.
And I'm Jessica Moyer. This is Good Morning La La Land, America's first live streaming daily talk show, coming to you Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Now also available on Apple TV and Roku.
Right, today is all about Friday Feels. We talk about dating, love, and relationships every Friday. And we're going to have some good debate today. We're going to talk about if there's equal pay for women, should there be equal pay when we're dating? Good thing to debate. We're going to talk with one dating expert and get her advice on that. And we're also going to set you on your right compass of your life in love in all areas.
I love it. You know it's going to be a deep, loving day when you start with Whitney.
Yeah.
At the top.
Straight to the heart.
Straight to the heart.
The greatest love of all.
It was like heartbreak, I want to kill myself, and then I love myself, and I'm just like one big emotional.
As long as you live as you believe, Erin.
That's right.
Just sing it out.
And then you remember the movie Bodyguard?
Oh.
That just dug the knife even deeper.
The Bodyguard was the first rated R movie I ever saw, and I don't even know if my mom knew I was watching it. She rented it from Blockbuster. I'll never forget it. And my friend Katie and I snuck it. We were like, we're gonna borrow it.
Was there some sex? I can't remember.
Do you remember the sword scene?
Oh,
it was more like, yeah.
I can't remember it yesterday. I'm gonna remember that.
Yeah, it was a heavy movie.
Right.
Movie, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of yesterday, I went to see a private performance by Mike Peters from the band Alarm. It was real big a couple decades ago, and it was this very intimate, 24 people in this recording studio in West LA. It was so cool. It was so much love. It's amazing what music can do to a room.
It is amazing.
Changes your emotion immediately.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
Brings you back to times, I mean, all the above, amazing emotions. And I'm totally emotional in this beautiful dress today. Big shout out to Manish and JSquadClothing.com. He's gave us all of our dresses for the whole week. We've enjoyed being goddesses here.
Yes,
I think you could actually wear this dress to the royal wedding. What do you guys think?
The royal wedding is this weekend. You guys, talk of the entire world right now. It's the biggest wedding of the year. Ms. Meghan Markle is marrying Prince Harry tomorrow morning. The guests are arriving at 4:30 a.m. Eastern. Supposedly George Clooney's going to be there, Amal, of course, the entire royal family. Sans her family. Her father will not be in attendance.
He's sick, right? He had a heart.
Yeah.
Oh.
A heart issue.
Right?
Yeah. Hope he's
I don't catch up. I can't keep up with all this stuff. I'm not totally in that realm, but I just think I do know that she has an article here at Focus TV, right?
You know, Meghan Markle is a part of the Focus TV family for a long time.
Because we're so cool.
One of the 5th anniversary issue of Focus magazine, there was a profile piece on Ms. Meghan Markle when she had founded The Teak. It was her incredible beauty lifestyle blog. She nailed it. I was a big fan of hers while she was doing Suits. She was a great actress. She also got her start by Focus TV family member Mark Tester. So the debut to her on-screen acting career was actually on General Hospital, where he has won 9 Emmys for being a casting director on there.
So good.
And she's part of the UN Women's Movement, which is all about equality also, and the embassy as well. I mean, she's definitely mastered that international relations, just saying.
Yes, absolutely. We have a special look at some of the coverage from the Focus TV family. Let's take a look.
Casting director for General Hospital, and this is my life. I was born in New York City. I was raised in Scarsdale, New York. I have been a casting director for 35 years. My best casting is my 13-year-old daughter, Amelia. I love what I do. I love being a part of a process that's creative, that I get to work on something I love every day. Out of all the jobs I've had, and I've cast a lot of different things, General Hospital has been my favorite job of all time. And I try to be supportive of actors because without an actor, I don't have a career. And this is my life.
As Meghan Markle nears closer to walking down the aisle, we're getting more of a picture of the woman who was living the dream in LA, where she got her first acting gig at 19.
This is where she started. Her scenes were basically, she was here behind the desk, talking to a doctor, giving him a message.
Just 1 second.
Mark Teschner cast her as a nurse on General Hospital. Now he's watching as she's thrust into an even bigger spotlight.
I was just happy for her. You know, you want anybody to find true love.
He says Megan's instincts on camera were undeniable.
Right out the gate.
Right out of the gate.
You saw a gift in her.
Do you have any other mantras or quotes, anything that inspires you?
I have so many quotes, but you know, I just really just try to live each day powerfully and authentically. And I always tell actors, act because you love to act. Don't act to make it, to become a star. Act because you love the craft of acting, because all those other things are outside of your control. But being a terrific actor is the one thing that's in your control. I'm Mark Tester, the casting director for General Hospital. Please check me out in the next issue of Focus magazine.
Love him. What a sweetheart.
Yeah, love Mark. Such a great heart.
Really great heart. So
Incredible visionary. It's,
right?
you know, it's really interesting to talk about this on the hashtag Friday Feels Day, because we're so incredibly honored to be a part of the Focus community here. Meghan Markle, Mark Teschner. I'm also available to royal weddings. I'm just saying, if that's how it comes full circle, I'll accept the challenge.
From Focus TV to Royal Wedding. That's
Right?
mind-blowing.
It
Incredible,
happens.
right?
Awesome, yeah.
But you know, there's rumors that she's had to give up a lot, which obviously she gains a lot. But I don't know that, you know, the culture of it that well.
Well,
but
that's not rumors, Erin. That's the truth. In order for her to meet some of the royal guidelines and standards expectations, they took down her blog, The Teak, which was her huge passion project. She's given up her acting. She really has released all of her creative expression in order to accept the responsibility of being a royal.
Huh.
Wow.
I wonder what that is exactly.
What, the love? That kind of love?
Yeah, no, that's not. I mean, it brings up a good conversation in what you will sacrifice or compromise in the name of love. What she's
Right.
doing is investing, I think, in relationships beyond just hers and Harry. It's the relationships internationally with the U.S., with England, with the rest of the world, really, as she's representing as a
Right,
woman of our
right.
generation.
And I think it's a perspective. I mean, I think that I'm sure that there's a lot of incredible things she's stepping into, and you know, I don't know. I mean, Diana, right? We know that was a big debate around what happened with her, and I don't really have an opinion on it. I think it is an individual choice of what works for you, and you're either expressed or suppressed, and it's an individual perspective.
Yeah, I live in this little utopian world of my own mind where I want to believe that you don't have to give up a whole lot for love. In fact, that it will be a contribution or value add to your life. But I also know there's an opportunity cost to everything. So if you make decision A, there's an opportunity cost of not, you know, exercising decision B. So
For sure.
I mean, I think it's a real life fairy tale. And helping me find that real life fairy tale is my own very personal compass. We want to welcome to this show Miss Therese Germain. Thank you so much for being here. She's an expert dating coach, and I couldn't be more happy to have the conversation with her. Good morning.
Hi everyone, good morning, happy Friday.
Good morning.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. So
course.
on Good Morning Island, we like to know, what's your morning routine like? How do you start your day?
So you mean like after I press the snooze like 5 times?
I'm with you.
Yeah, so every morning I start by journaling, writing a letter to the universe or my higher power. So that's, for me, it's God. And in that letter, I write all the things that I want to happen that day. I write about how I want to feel that day. I write about how I want other people around me to feel. And so that helps me prioritize and make sure that I'm going into the day with the right intentions.
love that.
Yeah.
So important.
I love Dear Diary, Dear Universe, Dear God. Oh wait, my higher self. Hi, what's up?
Just getting tapped in, tuned in, turned on.
Such a fantastic practice. I just absolutely love that practice. I wonder what exactly do you include, you know, in that letter, or sort of when you're writing? Is there specific things that you ask for? Are there specific things that you focus on?
Right. So a few examples. Some things I say in terms of how I want others to feel. I want my family and friends to feel loved. And so if I want that to happen, that means I have to schedule in my day some time for me to call my mom or to text my sisters and friends and just make sure I'm prioritizing them at some point in the day. For work, maybe it's making sure a client feels supported. So being there for that person, making sure that I'm planning ahead of time to make sure we have the best session possible for coaching.
Love that.
Yeah.
Me too.
I don't know where you go from there. That's all you need.
Yeah, well, obviously she's mastered direction. Her company is called Compass.
We all need
good
a
name.
compass.
Right.
Yeah.
We all do. Well, thank you again so much for being here. We're excited to talk to you more later in the
Absolutely.
show.
So let's take a little break. When we come back, we're going to debate a few things. We're talking about, you know, some of this time in history is really about women rising. A lot of in the news everywhere, Time's Up and all that. So we want to debate if it's equal pay for women in the workplace, should there be equal pay when you date?
Oh.
It's an interesting topic. When I was on the Mentality Show this week at LA Talk Radio, we debated it, and I definitely feel like everyone has their own opinion, so I'm ready to hear yours for sure. So stay tuned, you guys. We'll be right back.
I'm Jasmine Moye, co-host of Good Morning La La Land with our associate producer, Ms. Victoria Simone.
Hey girl, so where are we right now?
We are on the red carpet of the 45th annual Daytime Emmys, and this red carpet is hot.
So we're actually going to be reporting to you live on the red carpet this week in La La Land. Jez, who was on This Week in La La Land.
We had an awesome time with Mike from Oysters XO.
XO.
Dow Wines, the official wine sponsor of the Daytime Emmys.
Yes.
Cheers to that. We also had Casa Herradura and Tequila Master Kevin. He made us the official golden margarita.
24 karat magic in the air, that's what I'm saying.
It was all luxury, and we celebrated the launch of the lifestyle magazine Amari with the creator George Roja and Zulay Hanel. It was a great week in La La Land.
Jez, actually, who are we wearing right now?
Special shout out to Ms. Steph Adino. She gowned and glammed us out for the gala for the creatives, and today coming to you from the red carpet at the Daytime Emmys.
Thanks for tuning into This Week in La La Land. Thank you for tuning into This Week in Focus. Victoria Simone here, associate producer here at Focus TV Network, America's first live streaming daily talk show network with my girl,
Jasmine Moye, co-host of Good Morning La La Land. So Victoria, tell me what happened this week in Focus.
So last week on the Focus TV Network, we had What's Good
with Aida Rodriguez, super funny, talented comedian.
We had Reshape with Allie Landry
with legendary Roma Downey and Kyle Richards.
We had Moms Matter hosted by Shirin Yadigar. On that show was
Sophia Dixon,
founder of Q Wonder. We had Success Beyond Beauty founder Terry Briggs with our girl Erica Dela Cruz. Jez, who are we wearing right now?
We are wearing J Squad. Special thanks for making us feel like a true goddess here on Good Morning La La Land.
Speaking of Good Morning La La Land, who was on last week?
We had legendary host Jane Hansen, the creative team of Sick for Toys, amazing musician, and Kirsten Collins was here, singer-songwriter, and she's making grown men cry. And of course, we had Eric and Santi Nielsen from the Bay.
Couple goals. Thanks for tuning in to This Week in Focus. Jez, thanks for helping me out.
Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning La La Land, where we are #LoveFocus today.
Lots of love in the air between the royal wedding and the rise in equal pay with women paying for dating. So we want to debate today in Friday Feeling, with equal pay in the workplace and women, fighting for that, if you will. Does that mean that we should have equal pay when we are paying for dating? Good debate.
Ladies first, yes. I defer immediately.
He said, she said moment. I don't think there's actually one right answer for this. It's whatever works for you and the person you're dating. And I know, and a lot of times, with me personally, I like to at least extend the offer. If it's something that I invite a man to, and I'm getting paid as much, I'm happy to cover it. But there are certain men that I've been in dating relationships with who want to accept that responsibility and feel the need to provide, even if then I'm providing in other ways and contributing financially in other ways to the home or to a vacation or gifts or whatever that may be. But on a date, they still might want to take care of me.
I totally agree. So on the Mentality Show, we debated it, and one of the gentlemen said, hey, I pay. He was a little bit more raunchy because it was the man's show. He was like, if I want to get laid, I got to pay. I was like, okay, we're really not in a conscious conversation right now, but that's good. No, I love those guys. Such a big shout out. Incredible guys over there. Really down to earth guys. Great conversation. But anyway, so the point is that they were saying that a lot of the women that they know, they don't cook, they don't do the traditional things anymore, and yet they want equal pay, and yet they don't want to pay half as the time when they go on dates. And I agree with you, Jocelyn. I think that it is an individual decision, but I do think it's important to know that equal pay is a separate conversation from equal paying on dating. Dating it's an agreement between two people. And it doesn't matter, maybe that looks like you're building a family together and there's different roles within that or not. I think it's a totally separate conversation, really. It's an individual choice of how you do that in your relationship.
But
What do you guys think?
I do have male friends who are having this very same conversation because they're tired of paying if we're getting paid the same amount.
Or if we're not like doing things like cooking a beautiful meal on the side, and then when you go out, they pay whatever. With my boyfriend, you know, it's gone very well. Like, he is very generous when we go out. I ended up cooking a lot more since I've been with him because I kind of gave up cooking after my son was out of the house, and I've been cooking a lot more to try and make it kind of, everyone wants to feel like they're contributing. I don't think, the point is that everyone's going to become resentful if people are doing more than the other person. There's no question about it.
Yeah. Practicing my active listening skills. I would say that for me, it's not really even about the pay or the money. I mean, obviously, I'm talking in terms of dating. Equal pay, of course, that's not in the question.
Yeah, for sure.
But in terms of dating, for me, the question isn't so much about pay and money, it's about kindness and gratitude. So, like, I don't mind paying for anything as long as I feel like authentic gratitude and appreciation. And there's, like, you know, a person's being present when they're with you. So for me, that's more the issue. You know, it's always nice when a woman reaches.
Yeah, or paying every few times or whatever that is, but I think it's an individual.
Well, let's talk about the reach, because some people are like, do you do it, do you not? You reach with no intention. You're like, oh, the bill's here, I'm going to reach in my purse, but I have no intention of paying. I mean, guilty as charged. I've done that a couple times. I think we all have, right?
I intend to pay when I reach, but I'm a guy, so it's different. I always do. And if I want to pay the bill, I get to it and I pay it. That's just
or
the way
have
it
you
is.
guys ever, like, you know, back in my dating days, like, have you ever been with somebody who's like, oh my gosh, I forgot my wallet? And you're like, wow, that's like, just go ahead and be like, you know, let's talk about this whole money thing. Let's get it on the table and, like, see what works for everybody and figure it out, then try and pretend and do it like some passive aggressive thing. Like, that's funny.
Yeah, I've got female and male friends that have done that or had that done to them, and a couple of them have said, well, don't worry about it, we'll just drive you home and you can pay me. But you know what I mean? But
they have Venmo now.
they do
yeah,
have, that's right, on the spot.
There's no excuse for it now. It's on your cell phone. There is absolutely no excuse. But do you feel like, Rob, though, that you want to pay? Are you demasculated at all if a woman's like, no, I insist on paying my half? Like,
no, no. Like, you know, I've dated women that have been so infinite, like so much more successful than me, so much wealthier than, you know, I would even dream of being. And to be honest with you, they would want to pay all the time because they were clear about that, and I was clear about that. It wasn't emasculating to me at all. That being said, the women that had more experience, they would always actually have a conversation about it and say, hey, you know, look, I know that you probably want to pay. I know that you definitely have the money to pay. But, you know, honestly, I'm in a position where I kind of like paying. It doesn't bother me at all, and I just like to take the pressure off if I can pay. That being, so we've had that conversation, and I think it's, at the end of the day, Jez, and I think both you and Erin have nailed it. It's just about, if possible, it's hard in the beginning, but having the conversation eventually, so that it's just
conversation,
easy.
Which is so weird. Like, if you have been dating somebody for a month and you haven't, and everyone knows when it's awkward. We can feel it when it's awkward around money, and if it's awkward around money, that's the time to have a conversation. Like, we're grown adults, let's have the conversation about money.
Yeah.
You know, I've even been in situations where people have quantified in monetarily my acts of service or gifts that would cost that amount of money. Oh, I contributed this, so, and I'm like, oh, but I would do that. Well, yeah, but really, how much is that worth?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
Even in talking about relationships. Oh, if I decided to stay home with kids, I had a girlfriend, and her and her husband had this conversation, and she said, well, if I stay home with the kids and forego my career, as Meghan Markle's done, and you earn all the money, what happens if we get a divorce? Well, you earned what we would have paid in daycare. So that's what I will give you for caring for my children, whatever the cost of daycare was. And I thought, oh my God, that is how you quantify being a mother?
Yeah, oh man, that's a messy one. I would say that, like, for me, I will agree that, like, you know, my intention is to love, okay? And the second that it starts to become transactional is the second that I don't feel like the love is there. I'm not saying that we should, you know, I love giving and taking, that's not the question, but I do think that for me, there's a difference between sort of love and transactions and marriage and relationships. And I think sometimes love gets lost in pursuit of relationship, marriage, and these other things that come with.
Right.
Yeah, so true.
And I'm sure there's people out there like, oh yeah, you guys are all conscious, it's all good, but out here in the real world, and I do think that it's important for people to just have the conversation and get real and get, even if it's with your friends, like debate within yourself, because what we came to on the Mentality Show was realizing that it really has nothing to do with the other person. It has to do with you coming to your own truth and realizing what works for you and standing in that position and communicating that to whether you're dating, married, whatever that is, to say this is really what works for me.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
Some of my favorite relationships are with dead authors. I don't have to have any of these problems. I just give, I just receive. It's awesome.
That's awesome.
And vice versa.
I thought your favorite relationship was with us.
Obviously.
Right.
It's obviously
Right.
true. But
So
yes.
there's so many great articles, pulling off all these. There's a lot of different articles on top complaints of husbands, top complaints of dating, top complaints of, all this stuff. It's so hilarious, some of these articles, but they're actually really good. They've got some great stuff in here, but one on here from Redbook is talking about different complaints people have in marriage. And I think that it's interesting when you look at complaints in marriage, because you can really start looking at how it started when you're dating. You just didn't really handle it or communicate with it. And so the point is to communicate on all levels and get clear of what works and doesn't work. And it is agreement. It's all agreement relationships.
Yeah, and not just not agreement necessarily in belief systems.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
But there's a sort of a heart level agreement. I think that for me, the one thing that I've been able, that I feel that I've gleaned from research like that, which was a fantastic article, is that you can't get a happy relationship by focusing on all the unhappy aspects in each other.
Totally.
I know that
Right.
much. I don't know much, but I know that.
Expectations and shoulds, you should stop shitting on yourself. No question about it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's like, so where do you think that is, Rob? So where do you think between an expectation versus like this works for me or it doesn't work for me? Where's that balance when you're coaching somebody?
Yeah.
And they're complaining about their partner, they're complaining about whatever, they're having these expectations, they're not being met. How do you have them accept that and accept someone for who they are?
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, I think it usually starts with accepting yourself for who you are. I'm definitely going to defer to Therese on this,
Yeah.
but I would say that with me, it's just dropping my own self-judgment and dropping the expectations about myself and my own life. When I've done that, when I stop judging myself, I automatically stop judging others. So for me, every time I'm judging anybody or anything, it's a reflection of the judgment that I have for myself at some level.
Interesting.
So just for me, it starts there.
That's deep, really deep. Life
working
is
on
the
it.
ultimate mirror, and your relationship is the magnifying glass.
It
now,
is.
right?
Yeah.
Oh. So let's get back with the expert. We're going to take a little break. When we come back, we're going to debate and find out some tips and keys to get you on your own compass of loving the life you have. Stay tuned.
Hello, Los Angeles. I am your host and producer, Alex Worley, filming inside Focus TV's West Hollywood studio. Welcome to Empowerista, a show dedicated to highlighting female trailblazers and empowering you to turn your barriers into breakthroughs.
Hey guys, I'm Amy Paprath.
And I'm Justin Walter.
And this is What's Good, the show that's dedicated to positive, uplifting stories from all over the globe.
Welcome to Good Morning La La Land. I'm Dr. Erin.
I'm Rob Mack.
And I'm Jessamine Moye.
And we're making history as the first live streaming daily talk show.
This is where all kinds of shit happens.
Monday through Friday, we are going to be streaming to you live, Los Angeles, at 9 a.m. Pacific time on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Alyssa Goodman Show. So, Kelly, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Alyssa. This is so fun.
I know.
What's up, Rose girls? I'm Jessica Carroll. Today we're gonna have so much fun because we have fitness personality Katie Austin.
Hey,
we're
thanks for having me on.
with
Cheers.
Katie Austin.
I love it. It
Cheers.
feels like a Saturday.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Millennial Life. I'm your host, Laura Odegaard, and today we are joined by the very beautiful former Miss California and now a TV host, Natasha Martinez. I'm so happy that you're here.
I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
You are tuning in to Slay with Rachel McCourt, and I have a fabulous guest. In studio with me is Liza Glukoff. She's just been named executive producer of programming at Awesomeness TV. I mean, no big deal, but huge. Hi.
Thank you. Hi.
Are we so excited right now?
We are so excited.
I mean,
Thank
we
you for
have
having me.
roses, we have perfect lighting, we've got some Spa Girl vodka in case we get a little crazy.
Hey, Dr. Erin here, teaching universal law and spiritual truth, having a conscious conversation in the heart of Hollywood. And I'm honored to have the guest today, who is Christina Pascucci, who is amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's an honor to be here with you. I so appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Jenna Barnett with Millennial Mom on Focus TV. And today I have Jennifer Yen here today to chat with me about all things mom related. So you actually started your career as an actress and you were on the very famous TV series Power Rangers, right?
Yes, I used to fight them as my first career.
You're watching Beige Bay TV. It's fitness expert and your Beige Bay Edwina Chia. Ladies and genticles, Tiffany Angulo. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. You know, you're my Beige Bay of the week, not only because of your nationality, but because you just seem like the girl who does it all.
Hi everybody, I'm Allie Landry and welcome to Reshape TV. I have created an online platform, reshapelive.com and Reshape TV, to provide a place where women can learn from the very best resources for those of us who are striving to reshape our lives and live an optimal, healthy lifestyle.
Hey LA, I'm Gwen Lane with the LA Girl, and I'm here with Liz Hernandez, former TV host at Access Hollywood and now the founder of Wordiful. So excited to hear more about that. Liz, thank you so much for being here today.
Hi Gwen, thanks for having me.
Hi everyone, it's Michelle Gillette, life coach and host of the Spotlight series on Focus TV. And joining us today is our dear friend, Shalini Videra.
And thank you for having me.
Of course.
I'm so happy to be here.
You're the perfect person to be here because we love anything that is, women helping other women, women empowering other women.
Hi, I'm Janica. I'm here with Focus TV for my segment of Fearless Females. And today I interview Doriana Richmond. You're going to love listening to Doriana. Not only is she beautiful, but she's so heartfelt, and she has created this amazing jewelry line called Stone Symbol.
Hi. Oh, thank you for that introduction.
Yeah,
wow.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, and welcome to Everyday Game Changers, a show that features people giving back to their community. I'm your host, Annalise Getz, and today we are joined by Rolanda Watts. Rolanda is a stand-up comedian, she's an actress, she's a television personality, and she is a philanthropist, which is why she's here today. So thank you for joining us, Rolanda.
Thank you for having me. A joy to be here.
Today on Moms Matter, we're going to talk about money, 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 something that we all struggle with and we need help with, and that's why we have the fabulous Winnie Sun, who's here with us today.
Aw, thank you.
Thank you so much. I know you've been on MSNBC and Forbes, and you are the money expert.
Hey everyone, welcome back to a new magical episode of Soul Reboot. I am your host, Allison Charles. Please welcome and meet this powerful divine queen whose name is Daphne Wayans. I am so happy to be here with you.
I'm so honored to be here.
Therese Germain is in the house. We got a dating expert. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, everyone.
Thanks for coming on.
It's a great day. You're a dating coach. You have a degree from Notre Dame. Wow, you must be smarty pants.
All right. I do okay.
Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in New York and Florida, kind of back and forth.
What part of Florida?
Weston. It's a small town you'll probably never hear of.
I know Weston.
You know Weston?
Yeah, I lived in South Florida for a while.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what led you to LA?
I was working at a management consulting firm in Chicago for a couple of years, and I was just feeling really unfulfilled. My last project was actually here. And while I was here on this last project, I was like, just fell in love with LA, and decided when I left, I'm like, I'm just gonna go for it. I'm gonna start this new company and move to LA, and here I am.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So you're a dating coach. So
That's right.
how does someone who, because you don't have a degree in that per se.
Right.
So take us on the journey of how you
Absolutely.
went, this is what I want to do, this is my purpose.
Absolutely. Yeah, great question. So there was a period when I was at that firm when I just felt like, I feel like I'm not doing something that is really capitalizing on my skills. I felt like I was trying so hard to become something I wasn't. You know, being like the quantitative, like an analytical nerd, the person who makes like the best Excel sheets and financial models, and it just wasn't me. And I realized in that time also, like I was working one-on-one with clients a lot, that I loved being one-on-one with people. And I loved helping people make their lives easier, whether it's their job or whatever, or just being an open ear, someone to bring insights out. And from there, you know, I've also always been someone who my friends come to for advice, who people, you know, approach for like, you know, career advice or relationship and dating advice. And so that's kind of where my brain started churning. And close to the end, when I was very, very sure that I was leaving this firm, I started to think, okay, like what could I do that would really, I'd be really passionate about, that would really leverage like these skills working with people one-on-one, my intuition with people, and then eventually I realized my love of like the dating industry. So I was working with a coworker one day. We had like a few minutes between client meetings, and we were talking about our dating life, and we just began strategizing, like writing things out on the board, kind of the way you'd approach a consulting project, right? Like building a marketing strategy for this person's dating life. And she said, you know, she knew I was going to leave, and she's like, you know, why don't you just do this for a living? And I'm like, holy, you're right. And so that's where it was born, and it's evolved a bunch since then. But that's where the beginnings came from.
I find it so interesting that you call it a marketing strategy for someone's dating life.
Right.
What an interesting thing to it, because I never really considered myself as the product.
Right. And you're a unique product too, so it's not like you're a commodity, right? You have some qualities that are part of you that are so unique and so special, and that's going to imply something about how you should go out into the dating world, right? Because you're a certain person, you should be on certain apps or not. Maybe you should be going to certain events or not. And then that's also going to infer what kind of person you should be looking for, right? If you have a certain personality type, if you have certain passions, then there's going to be somebody who complements those things. So knowing yourself as a product, as that unique product, will really dictate the best way to spend your time when you date. Because you don't want to just be out there just doing all the things.
And I think that there's kind of two things going on when we think about dating, love, and relationships. There is that logical aspect that it does make sense. Like you wouldn't do well with somebody that has completely different values than you per se, right? But there's the heart, and the heart has no bounds, and there's something. So how do you balance that as a coach?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question as well. And I think a big part of it is helping people really tap into their intuition. So helping them understand, you know, like there's a part of you that, you know, that wants to be logical and wants to have like all the boxes checked. But even if all the boxes are checked, it still might not be the right person. So you want to balance those two things and make sure they're both there.
How do you come to terms with that though? Because you know, you hear people say, oh, he was right for me on paper. He checked all my boxes. But he just wasn't right for me. I mean, at what point do you recognize that, and how do you flip the switch on it?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way that I approach it, and the way I approach it with my clients, is I ask them to think about, like, does this person make you happy? Do they make you smile? Do they add to your life? Do they add incrementally to your life? Do they make you want to be better and challenge you? And if you don't have good chemistry, if you don't feel that strong love and desire for that person's not going to make you happy long term, and you're setting yourself up for, you know, some.
I have that conversation with my girlfriends very, very often. And the common denominator is then something must be wrong with me. On paper, he's perfect. On paper, it checks boxes. So why is it that I don't have that chemistry? Why is it that I don't have that chemical reaction to this person?
Yeah, and for everybody, it's different. For some folks, it's, you know, if they don't have the attraction from the get-go, it's never going to happen. For other people, they can grow into it. And so it's definitely not your friends. It's not any one person's fault. You can't blame anybody for not being attracted to you. You can't blame anyone for not having feelings for you. It's just something that is uncontrollable, right? And so then it's more of a numbers game. Is, you know, you're looking for somebody who meets maybe one or like less of the criteria. Maybe you're like, there's one less criteria that you can, you know, that you want to knock off because there's somebody else out there who meets most of them, and that you also have these great feelings for.
Wow. Does childhood programming play?
Sorry?
Does childhood like programming play a role?
Yeah.
I've noticed that, you know, certain friends and in my own experiences, like sometimes, you know, you think it's intuition and it's something else.
Yep.
So yeah, how do you work through that?
Right. And I think your childhood programming it's that little voice, it's like the opposite of your intuition. It's the ego. It's often that like voice that says like, do the right thing, like stay, like for me it's like stay at the management consulting firm, like go to the right school, like keep the safe job. or like date this person because on paper it's good. It'll make my parents proud. It'll make my, my family proud. It'll make my friends impressed. And that's the voice that you kind of have to learn how to turn off. And you have to distinguish between those two voices, because sometimes, in the beginning, before you learn that you even have those two voices, they are the same. Like they sound the same in your head.
So I want to debate something with you.
Please.
Because I actually don't believe in couples counseling or marriage counseling. I believe that it always comes down to the individual to do their own work and be able to get clear of what really works for them. And it transforms the entire relationship when someone works on themselves. And like Rob is not married and not in a relationship, and he is a coach in the dating realm. And I think that that's kind of almost like a wave of the new future of dating and love relationship coaches, because
I thought you were going to
like,
go.
and that people might look and they go, well, why would you? I mean, I don't know if you're married or not, but why would somebody? How could somebody be a coach when they're not married? How can somebody be when you don't? Your degree's not a complete believer that you just have a gift or you don't, and you understand truth or you don't, and it works or it doesn't, right? But what is your take on that? What do you think about that?
Erin, you touched on like some awesome points, and the first one I want to touch on is the idea that you have to work on yourself, and that when it comes to like a relationship or marriage, it's work, and the two individuals have to put in the work. Whether they go to therapy or not is a different story, but there is a big part of it that's like I have to make sure that I am bringing my full self to the table, and I have to make sure that we are working on this as a partnership. So it's not always going to be roses and flowers, even if you're dating for like a few months or a few years, right? There's always going to be moments when you have to have the tough conversations, when you have to contribute more. It's not always a 50-50 relationship. Sometimes one person has to give more or less depending on the situation. So I think that's one point. The other point about credibility is huge too, and I think a lot of coaches struggle with this. I know that I did in the beginning because I didn't study psychology. I just have this passion for dating, and I have a really great intuition when it comes to people. So the way I think about it is I'm by like training a problem solver. Like in consulting, like I am built to understand problems, get information from people, collect data. So now it's more qualitative data that I get in conversations, and then synthesize it and understand what picture I'm looking at. And because I'm an objective party, I'm not your friend, I'm not your family member, right? I'm somebody who can look at this and there's no judgment. You're gonna share things that you have never told your best friends, right? And there's so much benefit in having that open conversation, and then also having somebody who can take all of those things from that open conversation and turn it into okay, well, here's a great plan for you. Let's work on a plan together to make sure that we can meet the goals that you want to meet, and keep them accountable too. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. And I totally agree. And I feel like my mind goes very logical like that. I'm a very logical person, and sometimes I have a hard time dropping into the heart and just living in space of relationship from the heart instead of from the logical stuff, because so logical, sometimes it just doesn't allow the true bonding to happen, the true intimacy to happen. And I think that you're such a smart woman, and I think it's amazing that, I agree, I think someone to come together and have a strong mind, take the information is such a great place for people, but I wonder how that's going to implement with the heart.
Oh, and we'll get to that when we come back. More on Good Morning La La Land. Stay tuned. from Los Angeles. Welcome back to Good Morning La La Land. We are hashtag Friday Feels Today Love Focused with expert Germain. Thank you so much, Therese Germain. See what we did there?
She's like the best at names. I'm so glad.
No worries, no worries.
She's human. No.
Yeah, no, so we want to talk about what we were mentioning earlier just before the break, Erin. Let's talk about that. Being
It is such a challenge because, like, and Erin and I have talked about this quite a bit, like, because I'm pretty logical too, and I also love very heart-focused, heart-centered people. So it's been something I've had to over-index for in my life, and I think a lot of people are challenged. They're both attracted to people that are sort of different from them in that way, but it's also a challenge because sometimes you're like, I don't want to do that. It's not logical at all. And they're like, what's logic have to do with it? You know. So how do you help people sort of find that sweet spot or that balance between both the mind and the heart?
So I think it's first understanding that your partner or the person that you're dating does come from a certain place, whether it's more logical or more from the heart, and then trying to see things from their perspective, right? Whenever you're like maybe in a disagreement and you're thinking, like, I just can't seem to understand why they would want to do this or make this decision. It's about taking a step back and being like, okay, I know that they think this way. So let me try to even reason out why they come to that conclusion. And once you understand that, it's a little bit easier to be like, okay, well, I can understand now. You don't have to agree with it, but it helps you to just understand that, like, everyone's different. And I think that's where balance can be introduced.
Yeah.
Right?
So I have a radical question.
Okay.
All right. So for me, and people would disagree, and I hope they do. For me, happiness is a higher value than love, because it's impossible for me to be loving if I'm not happy, right? Yeah. And so the litmus test for me is happiness. So when people ask me that question, which you answered so eloquently, it's much better than I do. But when people ask me, hey, you're single, you're not married, and you're a dating coach or whatnot, my response is, well, really, I'm a happiness coach. And sometimes happiness looks like being single. Right. Sometimes it looks like being in a relationship. But that's the litmus test, right? Yeah. For you, what would you say the goal is in your coaching? Is it, and maybe it depends on the sort of client, but what's your goal?
Yeah, awesome question. When I think about my clients, like, obviously they come to me because it sucks, you know, like they live in a place where they just can't find anybody. They're sick of the whole dating culture. And that's like mostly the reason people, like, you know, would sign on with me as a client. But the value that I bring, and I know this for sure, is it's so much deeper than dating. It goes way beyond. It is about building confidence. It's about loving yourself. It's about being selfish for yourself. And being selfish for yourself sometimes means saying no to a relationship. It sometimes means like ending something that you really enjoyed because you know you could be happier, or maybe one person could be happier, right? So there is, to your point, I also believe that happiness can be greater than love, especially if the love isn't as good as you think it could be. If you feel in your heart that there's something out there that's greater.
I think of it more like, I think the term happiness is misunderstood sometimes. I think for me it's like peace peace within, and I'm getting upset all the time in the relationship, and I get that relationships are really like an alchemy. It really grows us and pushes us in ways that we wouldn't be if we're just alone sometimes, which is a beautiful thing. But if it gets to a place where it's so many upsets that becomes dysfunctional, then it's doing the opposite. It's making me actually have more programming and hurting my subconscious than growing. There's like a fine line there.
Yeah. It's such a great point, Erin. I agree with you. I would call it maybe subjective well-being or peace, but it's just that sense of all is well kind of on the inside. And part of the challenge, I think, too, and I want to know what you think, is I think we do and think and say things a lot of times in the name of love that isn't love at all. And we want to call it love, but it's everything but. And you sort of spoke well to that earlier when you said, there's a little switch in our head, and there's an ego switch. And sometimes it tells us we should do X, Y, or Z, and then we disguise it or mask it by calling it love. So how do you get people to see that? Is it through meditation? Is it through coaching? Is it through therapy?
So I find for myself at least, and most of my clients as well, that there's always that happens when that ego starts talking. That voice that doesn't have your best interest in mind, but has like the idea that things are supposed to be a certain way because someone told you they're supposed to be a certain way because of conventional wisdom. And the way that I think about it is, I get anxious when the ego starts talking. Like I'm trying to make a decision, and deep down I know it doesn't feel right. I even get like a stomach pain, and it's become much more clear because I'm aware of it. But it's looking for those signs of, okay, am I more stressed out? Is this decision making me really nervous in a way that's not healthy? Am I, not taking care of myself for some reason? It's looking at the outside, even physical signs that the voice in your head is guiding you towards the wrong thing.
So if you're in that spinning mode, right, your GPS is spinning, how do you settle into yourself to have that inner compass?
Yeah. I write a lot, and I worked with a business coach who gave me so many tools. Jen Schultz, she's amazing, and she helped me to use writing to get my intuition out on paper.
Great advice.
And for some people, it's introspection through their mind. Not everyone likes to write. For some people, it's talking things out with a coach, but with everyone I work with, there's a lot of writing involved, a lot of, here, do this journaling assignment to get to that intuition and ground yourself.
Let's debate. Yeah. Equal pay in work, does that equal paying in dating? What do you think about that?
So I think because equal pay is still not existent in work, we're not quite there yet.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot to be said for just everyone wants to feel taken care of, men and women, right? And so that means bring, something equal to the table. And maybe it's not 100% equal. It could be, 55-45. But making sure that you're doing your part in the relationship, or even in the dating ship. So on a first date, if you want to reach for your wallet as a woman, that's great. You better be prepared to put that money on the table, because I've been there before, and I never let that person live it down. So it's all about making sure that if you're doing something, it's because you actually want to do it, and then if you're somebody who prefers for the guy to pay as a woman, and you just like those traditional values, that's totally fine. That's up to you. But make sure you have that conversation, at some point, so that they're just aware and they're not expecting something that's never going to happen.
I agree.
So it's about being honest.
I had this coach years back that really transformed my perspective of a relationship. He said he was married and his marriage was kind of not going so well. And one day he woke up and he looked in the mirror and he thought, you know what? If I don't do something about this marriage, it's going to end in divorce. Whether it be a year from now or a few years from now, it's headed that direction. Yeah. And he thought, I am going to take 100% responsibility for everything. I'm going to do everything. I'm going to give it my 100%, because if this ends into divorce, I don't want to look back and regret something. So he said, I made a commitment that day, and I decided I was going to give it 100%. So he said, I took everything from cleaning the house to entertainment to paying for things. He said, I just decided I was going to do everything. He said, but as soon as I did that, everything changed. My wife showed up way more in all areas as well. And so he said, when I came abundantly, she came abundantly. And when I stopped keeping track of who was doing what and keeping score, everything changed. And that, for me, I was like, oh, I don't have to mirror. If they're nice, then I'm nice. If they're gonna be abundant, then I'll be abundant. No, I'm gonna come from who I really want to be, and I'm going to be the best self. And if I become that, then it's either going to work or not work, or whatever it is. So such a great thing. So how about for you? I would imagine if people are coming with complaints, that must be hard. Even just that, you're coming complaining, dating's not working. We got to first work on the mindset. How do you deal with that?
Mindset is the first word that came to mind, and it's about having optimism is first. Because if you're dating and you're just getting back into it, and you show up to your dates without an optimistic mindset, you're gonna have a horrible time on the date. You're going to you're going to bring negative energy to the table. And I'm not a fluffy person, so hearing me talk about energy is very weird.
You're in the right place for it.
But yes, exactly. It's making sure that you are in a place where you're open to being attracted to somebody, where you're open to the possibility of it becoming something, as opposed to coming in with, it's probably not going to work out. I don't know why I'm bothering. I'm just going to show up and see what happens. No, be intentional.
I'm back on the dating scene, and how open though do I have to be? Because I'm thinking maybe I should date somebody that I typically wouldn't normally date. Maybe I'm going out with somebody who I'm like, oh, I'm not necessarily attracted to you, but I enjoy our conversation, or I don't know where the line is. In that. And then how often do I go out with this person to figure it out? I mean, what is the compass on that?
Yeah, great question.
Great question, really important question.
Yes. In terms of, understanding when you should open your boundaries, or open, or I guess increase the net that you cast, right?
Oh, yeah, the casting type, right?
Exactly.
Not my type, but I'll entertain it.
Right. First it's about knowing you. Are you somebody who knows you're attracted to somebody on the first time, like the first time you meet, and then, you know, it's either you're attracted or not, or can you grow into attraction? There's two different kinds of people.
I've never grown into attraction.
Well, then
let's be honest. Well, maybe I can. Maybe I'm supposed to. That's the challenge.
I'd say if you haven't until now, you're probably somebody who like needs that attraction from the very beginning. So then it's about what attracts you to people. Thinking about, you know, maybe it's a certain type of look or a certain type of ambition. Maybe it's because they have some kind of whatever it is. It's understanding what attracts you to those people, and then what's the driver behind that. So let's say I only date guys who go to Ivy League schools, which is not true.
But it's a good quantifier.
It's a pretty good indicator. Yeah. Behind that is well, if I'm attracted to people, I'm looking for somebody who is intelligent, who's witty, who can hold a conversation about world issues, who can just keep up. Right, that's what I'm looking for, and they don't have to have gone to an Ivy League school to do that, right? So it's finding out the drivers behind what you think you're attracted to. So writing those things down and thinking about, okay, these are the 5 things that I just that gravitates me towards people. What does that mean?
It's so interesting, as I'm sitting here listening to this conversation, because it's so different in my own head, and I can't speak for most men.
Come on, let's talk.
But I will anyway. But I would say that my experience is so different from that, because I may know whether or not I'm attracted, obviously, to one right away, but I don't socialize within that frame at all. So I'll literally hang out with people, and maybe that could be a problem. I'll hang out with anyone who's interesting and wants to hang out, and then if it's not on my mind, isn't any dating opportunity there, but it'll unfold or not. But maybe because I don't know if that's. It can be a challenge, I suppose, for other people.
Well,
it's great.
I'm a little that way, and I think, oh, this is going to be a great relationship/friendship. I'm not interested in an intimate relationship with this person, and the other partner, the other side, is pursuing me in that other way. But I don't ever assume that. I always think oh, we're great friends. This is fun, and then that doesn't necessarily work.
You led me on.
Yeah.
You didn't.
Well, from a universal perspective, we're trained as far as working with the universe, and it's very different than logical like this. But we do logical. We will write out the total ideal scene, and really vision on that, and really think of who do I need to be and embody that which I seek. But also let go of how or outline or controlling how that shows up. So staying open to all possibilities, because it might come in a completely different form than what you think, but it still has that ideal feeling of what that big vision is. But do you work with people at all on visioning, or how do you get them to get those emotions into it? Because you're very logical in your attempt, which is good. I think you need both.
So it comes from a place of, asking them, what are you looking for? I guess describe to me, close your eyes, I'm waving a magic wand, describe to me what your ideal relationship looks like. How do you feel in that relationship? What are you getting out of it? What does it add to your life? Describing that, and that comes from the heart. That's not coming from their head. That's coming from their deepest desires and what they think they want. And in most cases, that's pretty spot on. They know, deep down what gets you going. You know deep down what makes your heart pump in a person. For sure.
What about the role of fun? So the greatest challenge I've come, similarly, very much like you, I've come from a consulting background, very strategic thinker, and always about problem solving, and always about being results driven. And part of my own personal success, if I could claim any, has come from not being so results driven and really just focusing on the fun and keeping things as playful as humanly possible. And I find that things seem to unfold so much better, both professionally and personally. What role does that play in your coaching?
That is hidden many heartstrings. There's a really important balance you have to make between being strategic and using your time wisely and planning and being intentional, and then being a robot, right? You don't want to be somebody who goes into dating and is completely, is blinding their heart and is just thinking about it as well, I'm going on this date, and every date is going to be the same, and I'm going to do the same things every time, order the same food every time, have the same exact conversation every time, right? So it's balancing that with okay, I want to make sure that, in terms of intentionality, I want to make sure that I have objectives when I go on this date, that I can learn these things about this person, make sure that you're spending your time wisely, Does that answer?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what's scary about someone who's like, this is what I want, these many kids, that you're thinking, you're just gonna like look for someone to fill that. It's not, it has no like,
it's a card in their deck.
It's just a card in their deck. It doesn't make any, I don't understand that at all. That's something I got married very young, got divorced because he's a wonderful father, but just not right in that sense. And it was because I thought, I need to get married, I need to have kids. I wasn't even looking for like, do we bloom together, Do we support each other's dreams? Do we have a mission that's similar? Do we have whatever that is,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I have a question, professional question. So I think a lot of people, and I've had people ask me, and I'm the worst person to ever give this advice, so I'll ask you, how do they get into the field? Maybe they want to be a dating coach, maybe they want to be a relationship coach. And I think there's not really a well laid out path for becoming a dating or relationship coach. So what tips might you have for folks that want to either enter that space or do something similar?
Okay, yeah. So I think because I took the approach of, I'm going to approach dating kind of in this business-like way, I felt like I had the credibility going right in. Some people want to get certified, and there's like certification courses you can get in order to do life coaching or relationship coaching. And then from there, it's just practicing. Like, find some friends who are interested or in your target market or who are interested in the kind of coaching you do, and just do it. Just get out there and do it, and do it for free for a little while. Just get your feet wet. Figure out like if coaching is actually something that makes you happy. If you're good at it, if you can help people get the results they want, or help people through a helpful process, even if it's not results driven. And I think there's so many paths, but the biggest thing is just having the courage to go out there and start it. Like, you don't have to have everything laid out and perfect before you get into coaching.
Great advice.
So how can people work with you? Where can they find you?
Yeah, they can find me on my website, thecompassstrategy.com. And I always offer like free intro calls if anybody's just curious about what I do and wants to learn more. So.
And shout out for Teddy for making the connection.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
Mutual friend. Yeah.
I love the conversation. I think that dating, love, and relationship is just fun. And Andy Waldman, here at Focus TV Network, he's always making love connections, and I think it's important. We all need love. We all need a connection. But the traditional ways, the programmed ways, are clearly evolving and changing and shifting. And clearly, it's coming to the place where everyone has their unique expression in it. And it's cool that you are. What a great job you have.
Thank you.
Right?
Yeah, I love my job. I always said, like, as a kid, I thought I worked for like a law firm or a consulting firm. I'll never love my job as much as a vet. Like, someone who loves animals loves being a vet. And I never thought I would have something that I loved that much. But now I do.
I'm so happy for you.
Right?
Everything.
That
changed your whole life.
Yeah.
Right?
It is. Oh, well, thank you. I want to give a special shout out to Jerry and Warfighter. They're doing a big event in Yorba Linda this weekend with over 500 vets. The mayor's going to be there. We want to just send our love and light. Thank you so much for the invitation to be there. We are excited to have you on the show next week.
Right? So you guys, please like, share, and comment. Support the people that you love. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and have a powerful day of love. We are waking up the world together Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Generally, we should go over sometimes, Pacific time. We're on Roku, Apple, all social media. You can find us everywhere. So have a great day, you guys. It's going to be a great day.
Also, catch your favorite interviews available on the podcast on iTunes. It's going to be a good morning, La La Land.
So great.